If you've been wondering how AI actually fits into generating income, not the hype, not the fear, but the practical reality, this video will show you exactly how it works. You don't need to invent anything. You don't need to become a tech expert. You don't need to build complex systems from scratch. You need to understand how to plug into a working framework that uses AI to handle the routine work while you focus on the decisions that actually matter. This isn't about replacing yourself with AI. It's about using AI to multiply your effectiveness as an operator. The modern income path is actually quite simple. It has three stages: attention, qualification, and conversion. First, you organize attention around a specific outcome you can deliver for a specific type of person. Second, you qualify that attention to identify who actually has the problem you solve, the resources to pay for solutions, and the authority to make decisions. Third, you convert qualified prospects into customers through a structured process that builds trust and demonstrates value. That's it. Three stages. The complexity that most people experience comes from trying to do everything manually, trying to scale their personal effort, or trying to manage too many variables at once. AI changes this equation not by replacing any of these stages, but by handling the routine cognitive work within each stage, so you can focus on the strategic decisions. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. In the attention stage, your job is to consistently demonstrate your understanding of a specific problem and your ability to solve it. This requires creating content, but not the kind of content most people think about. Not viral content, not entertaining content, not even educational content for its own sake. Content that shows you understand the nuances of a problem better than your prospect understands it themselves. Content that demonstrates outcomes you've achieved for people like them. Content that positions you as the obvious choice when they're ready to solve that problem. The challenge most people face here is consistency and relevance. They either burn out trying to create content constantly, or they create content that doesn't connect with their ideal prospects. This is where AI becomes valuable. AI can help you maintain consistency without burning out. It can help you research what your prospects are actually struggling with. It can help you organize your thoughts and experiences into content that resonates. But notice what AI isn't doing here. It's not creating your expertise. It's not manufacturing your experience. It's not replacing your judgment about what matters to your prospects. AI is handling the routine cognitive work, research, organization, initial drafts, so you can focus on the strategic work of positioning and messaging. In the qualification stage, your job is to identify who among your audience actually represents a good fit for what you offer. This isn't about qualifying everyone who shows interest. It's about efficiently identifying the subset of people who have the problem you solve, the resources to invest in solutions, and the decision-making authority to move forward. Most people skip this stage entirely. They try to convert everyone who shows any interest, which leads to long sales cycles, price objections, and customers who aren't actually a good fit. Or they try to qualify people manually through individual conversations, which doesn't scale and burns through their time and energy. AI can handle much of the qualification process automatically. It can ask the right questions, organize responses, identify patterns, and flag prospects who meet your criteria. But again, notice what AI isn't doing. It's not making the strategic decisions about who you want to work with. It's not replacing your judgment about fit and compatibility. It's not handling the nuanced conversations that require human insight. Look, AI is handling the routine communication, the data organization, and the initial screening, so you can focus your time on the prospects, few of them, who are most likely to become great customers. In the conversion stage, your job is to help qualified prospects understand how working with you will solve their problem and move them toward a decision. This requires building trust, demonstrating value, addressing concerns, and guiding people through a decision-making process. Most people make this stage much more complicated than it needs to be. They create elaborate funnels, multiple touch points, complex sequences, and overwhelming amounts of information. The reality is that people buy from people they trust. They trust to solve problems they have. The conversion process should be designed to build that trust and demonstrate the capability as efficiently as possible. AI can support this process in several ways. It can maintain consistent follow-up communication. It can organize prospects' information so you can understand their situation before conversations. It can handle routine questions and scheduling. It can even help you prepare for individual conversations by analyzing previous interactions. But the actual conversion, the trust building, the problem solving, the decision making guidance, that's still human work. That's still your work. AI reduces the time cost of managing the process so you can focus on the high value of interactions that actually drive decisions. What makes this approach powerful is that you're orchestrating outcomes rather than executing every task. Instead of spending hours researching content ideas, you spend minutes reviewing AI-generated research and deciding what matters. Instead of spending hours writing up follow-up emails, you spend minutes reviewing AI-generated drafts and adding your personal touch. Instead of spending hours organizing prospect information, you spend minutes reviewing AI-organized summaries and planning your approach. The time you save on routine cognitive work gets reinvested in the strategic decisions that actually drive results: positioning, messaging, relationship building, and conversion optimization. This is what leverage looks like in practice. You're not working harder, you're not working more hours, you're working at a different level entirely. This system handles the routine work. You handle the decisions that require judgment, experience, and human insight. The beautiful thing about this approach is its simplicity. You don't need to become a technical expert. You don't need to learn complex software. You don't need to manage multiple platforms or integrate dozens of tools. You need to understand the three-stage framework and how AI supports each stage. Everything else is implementation detail that can be handled by people who specialize in implementation. Most people get overwhelmed because they think they need to understand every technical aspect of how this works. They don't. They need to understand what outcomes they want and how to orchestrate the achievement of those outcomes. The technical implementation, the specific tools, the integrations, the automation sequences, that's not strategic work. That's operational work that can be delegated or systematized. The framework I've outlined here works, but the specifics of how to configure these AI-assisted systems for your particular situation, that's not something I can cover in a public YouTube video. The details depend on your industry, your audience, your current resources, and your specific goals for them, and for yourself. If you want to see how this framework gets configured in practice for someone in your situation, I'd be happy to show you in a private conversation. There's a link in the description to book a brief call where we can look at your specific circumstances and I can show you exactly how the systems would work for you as they work for me to make 40, 50, 60K a month. This isn't a sales call. It's a working session where you can see the practical application of what I've described here. So you too can make 5, 10, 15, 20K a month online.